In a small but bustling town nestled on the edge of Pennsylvania's Allegheny Mountains, where everyone knew your name and the smell of brewing coffee mixed with the rustle of autumn leaves, there stood an old barber shop called Precision Cuts. It had been there for nearly 40 years, passed down through generations, and was considered a staple of the community. Inside, you could find a vintage barber pole, creaky hardwood floors, and a wall lined with photographs, snapshots of old customers, some now long gone, others still loyal. Among the crew working in the shop was Claire Monroe, a 29-year-old single mother with a soft heart and strong hands. Claire wasn't born in the town but had moved there 6 years ago, escaping an abusive marriage, looking for a fresh start for her and her son, Eli. She had worked her way up from sweeping floors to cutting hair, gaining a loyal clientele and becoming known for her warmth and unmatched skill with the scissors. Claire lived modestly. Her apartment was small but cozy, her car old but reliable, and her happiness centered around her son. But she had something rare, compassion that ran deeper than most people realized. On a chilly November morning, with snow flirting with the edges of the town, Claire opened the shop early. The first few customers were regulars: Mr. Dawson, the high school math teacher, Maria, the florist from Main Street. Laughter and small talk filled the air as Claire and the other barbers worked. Her boss, Greg Simmons, a stern man in his 50s with thinning hair and a passion for profit, kept a close eye on everything. Around 11:15 a.m., the shop bell jingled gently, and in walked an older man. He was hunched, his coat worn and threadbare, his boots muddied, and his face lined not just with age but life's harsh lessons. He moved slowly, his right leg dragging slightly. A beat-up Vietnam veteran cap sat atop his gray head. No one paid him much attention until Claire looked up. Her heart skipped a beat. "Good morning, sir," she called, stepping out from her booth. "You here for a haircut?" The man looked hesitant. "Only if it's not too much trouble," he said softly. "I don't have much, but I can pay a little something." Claire smiled. "Don't worry about that. Come on, take a seat." He hesitated again. "I'm a veteran, not looking for charity, ma'am. Just need to clean up a bit. Job interview tomorrow." The room went quiet for a moment. Claire noticed the looks from her co-workers and from Greg, who had come out from the back office. She placed a gentle hand on the man's shoulder. "Sir, anyone brave enough to serve our country deserves a haircut on the house. And you'll look great for that interview." The man's eyes welled up as he nodded and eased into the chair. Claire worked gently, her fingers moving with care. She massaged his scalp, cleaned his beard, trimmed around his ears, even added a dab of aftershave. In the mirror, she could see the man's face transforming, not just in appearance, but in spirit. He sat up straighter, smiled a little more. As she swept off the final clippings and handed him a small mirror, the man's voice cracked. "Ma'am, I haven't looked this good in 20 years. Thank you." Claire beamed. "You're welcome, sir. Good luck with the interview." But before the man could stand up and thank her again, a loud voice interrupted. "Claire! In the back! Now!" Greg's voice was cold. She froze. Inside the cramped office, Greg's face was red. "What the hell do you think you're doing giving away free haircuts?" Claire blinked. "He's a veteran, Greg. He said he had a job interview. I don't care if he's George Washington reincarnated. This is a business. We don't run a charity." "I paid for the haircut with my own tip money," Claire said calmly. "That's not the point. You set a precedent. Now every sob story who walks in will expect freebies. You embarrassed the business." Claire stood up straighter. "Then maybe it's the business that should be embarrassed." Greg glared at her. "You're fired." Her heart dropped. "You're firing me? You heard me. Pack your tools. Get out." Claire didn't argue. She gathered her shears and brushes, her combs and sprays. The other barbers stared in awkward silence. The old veteran, who had been waiting to thank her once again, caught the tail end of the conversation. He approached, clearly upset, but Claire just touched his arm. "It's okay, sir." "Really? The man looked devastated. "I didn't mean for you to lose your job." "I know," she said with a soft smile. "But I'd do it again." With her bag slung over her shoulder and tears threatening to fall, Claire walked out of Precision Cuts, the cold wind biting at her skin. She had no idea how she'd tell Eli, or what she'd do now. But fate, it seemed, wasn't done with her yet. 30 minutes later. At Precision Cuts, the bell jingled again, but this time, it wasn't a customer. It was Mayor Thomas Whitaker, a well-respected man known for his devotion to veterans, community service, and fairness. Dressed in a tailored coat and flanked by a local reporter and 2 city aides, he looked determined. Greg, still in the front of the shop, was caught off guard. "Mayor Whitaker! What brings you here?" The mayor looked around the shop. "I'm here to see Claire Monroe." "She doesn't work here anymore," Greg muttered. "She was let go." The mayor raised an eyebrow. "That explains the call I got from Corporal Henry Mays, Vietnam veteran and lifelong resident. He just left here with tears in his eyes." Greg paled. "It was a business decision. We can't give away free services." The mayor cut him off. "Claire gave a veteran a free haircut. That's not just compassion, that's leadership. That's the kind of person this town needs more of." The reporter scribbled furiously. "I came here to offer her something," the mayor continued. "But now I'll be making an announcement instead." Across town, Claire sat in her car, parked outside her apartment. Her head rested against the steering wheel as tears rolled down her cheeks. She had always done the right thing, worked hard, paid her bills, helped people, but somehow life kept pushing her down. Her phone buzzed. An unknown number. She answered with a broken, "Hello? Claire Monroe?" "Yes. This is Mayor Thomas Whitaker. I'd like to speak with you in person, if that's okay." Claire was stunned. Yes, of course." 20 minutes later, Claire sat on a bench outside the local park, watching Eli play in the snow-covered grass. The mayor arrived shortly after, extending a warm hand. "Ms. Monroe, you don't know me personally, but I've heard a lot about you in the past hour." She chuckled nervously. "Good or bad?" "All good," he smiled. "I wanted to thank you. What you did today didn't go unnoticed." Claire shrugged. "It was just a haircut." "No, it wasn't. It was dignity. It was humanity. It was exactly what this town stands for." He handed her a folded piece of paper. "That's a letter of commendation. You'll also be receiving the key to the city next week at our Veterans Day ceremony." Claire's jaw dropped. I don't know what to say." "There's more," the mayor added. "A local salon, Grace and Steel, called me as soon as they heard the story. They want you on their team. With a raise. And full benefits." Tears welled up again, but this time with joy. "And," he continued, "Corporal Mays wants you to come to his interview tomorrow, to be there when he walks in with that clean haircut. He says it's the first time in years he's felt confident enough to even try." Claire smiled through her tears. "Mayor Whitaker, thank you." "No, Claire. Thank you." 1 week later. The local community center was filled with townspeople, veterans, students, and press. Red, white, and blue bunting hung from the rafters. At the front of the room, a podium stood beside a large screen showing a slideshow of local heroes. Mayor Whitaker stepped up. "Today, we honor someone who reminded us what it means to serve, not with weapons or badges, but with kindness. Claire Monroe, please join me." The crowd erupted in applause. Claire, dressed simply in a navy blue dress, stepped up, hands trembling. The mayor handed her a framed certificate and a large ceremonial key. Claire didn't wear a uniform. But in this town, she represents everything our flag stands for. Behind her, Eli beamed proudly. From the audience, Corporal Mays stood and saluted. And in that moment, Claire realized something. She may have lost a job, but she had found her purpose. Epilogue. Claire flourished at Grace and Steel. Clients followed her, and new ones came because of the story. Her compassionate spirit made her a local celebrity of sorts. She and Corporal Mays stayed in touch. He got the job, by the way, and became like family. Greg's barbershop struggled after the incident. People didn't forget. And every year, on Veterans Day, Claire gives free haircuts to veterans, no matter where she works, no matter how busy life gets. Not for praise. Not for politics. But because, in her heart, she knows the truth. Sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can change a life. And sometimes, it changes too.